Hello everyone, and welcome to History Spotlight. I'm your host, Program Coordinator Crystal Diff with Charlotte County Libraries and History. And today we're going to talk about one of the famous track and field stars that came out of Charlotte County, Thomas Fulton. Now, Tommy was part of a pioneer family. He comes from the James Andrews family, and he was born on October 31st, 1951. He attended the Baker Academy in Punta Gorda. He also went to Punta Gorda Junior High School and graduated from Charlotte High School in 1969. He was one of the first African American males to break the 4-minute mile. So a very big feat. And so we have stars like this all over Charlotte County, and I really wanted to highlight his story today. So how Tommy got involved with track and field is kind of a funny story. He was actually late to his physical education class, and his coach would make him run a mile. For every time he was late, he would have to run 4 laps around the track. And he actually set a record the first time he ever ran, and nobody would have ever known that he was so good at running except for this just weird coincidence where he actually was in a little bit of trouble for being late to class, and then he was able to showcase this amazing talent. In 1969, he won the state championship in the 1 and 2 mile as a senior at Charlotte High School. So even before he graduated, he was really making strides. He also graduated as the holder of the school record in both of those events. His record in the mile stood for 42 years until it was bettered in 2011, so only recently. His record in the 2 mile, which was 9 minutes, 33 seconds, still stands as of 2016, so 47 years later. And during his Charlotte High School years, he excelled so much in track and field that he was awarded a full scholarship to Texas Southern University in Houston, Texas. So again, he was the second African American male from the United States to break the 4-minute mile when he ran his personal best time of 3 minutes and 57 seconds during the Olympic trials in 1972. So he competed in the 1972 U.S. Olympic trials, and he lost his shoe. He lost one of his shoes during one of the races in the semifinals, but he still reached the finals. And he did fail to make the Olympic teams, but this motivated him even more. He was very determined, and everybody was just shocked and just in awe of his determination and how much he really dedicated himself to running. So he went on into the track every morning during the trials at 5:30 a.m. He'd run 48 laps at around 5 minutes and 30 seconds pace. And according to 1973 Track and Field News is where we get these times. And also his amount of determination and what his training style was like for the trials. So in 48 laps, there are 12 miles. So he would run 12 miles every morning starting at 5:30 a.m. At the 1973 National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, or NAIA, the national meet that was in Arkansas that year, he completely blew everybody's minds, and to this day, even some distance running historians are still in awe of the amount of determination and how fast and all the things that he was able to achieve during these trials. In a span of just 51 hours between May 23rd through 25th, 1973, he ran 8 races. And including the preliminaries and the finals. That covered a total of 15 miles for these races. He won 6 of them. He finished second twice, and he had very little recovery time between races. And that's really just what had everybody in awe. They were just wondering, how could he have this much endurance? He ran the 3-minute 57-minute mile. He beat the bronze medalist of the 1972 Olympics in the process for that time. It was the first sub 4-minute mile ever run in the state of Arkansas. During the track and field article of June 1973, it goes on to talk about the feats that he had accomplished during these trials. He never ran less than 2 races on 3 consecutive days. The longest rest period he had between the finals was only 40 minutes to cool down. So the starting times for the events are, and not the finishing times for the events. So really, he got less than about a half hour of recovery time in between, because only the start times of the races were listed, not the ending times. So he only had a half hour of recovery between the 880 and 6-meter finals. So why did he take on such a task? 2 reasons. So first, his coach from Texas Southern, Dave Bethany, said he wanted to run these races for the team because he wanted to win the national title. Then he's very proud, and he wanted to prove to himself that he could. And then Fulton says, "We needed points in certain events to win the Southwestern Athletic Conference and the NAIA championships. So I ran for those reasons. Plus, I just like to run more races to help with my endurance." So among his numerous accomplishments, he was ranked in the top 10 in the United States for the 880 and the mile run between 1973 and 1974. In 1973, while he was competing for the Amateur Athletic Union, or the AAU, in Munich, Germany, he actually made a new record time of 3 minutes and 55 seconds for his mile, a personal best. He also competed in Africa, Russia, and other countries with the AAU, and it was one of the largest multi-sport event organizations in the world, dedicated exclusively to the promotion and development of amateur sports programs. He ended up running in the pro circuit, and at that time, during that time frame, professional athletes were actually banned from the Olympics due to the International Olympic Committee policies. They saw this as an unfair advantage to any amateur counterparts during this time frame, so professional athletes were not allowed to compete in the Olympics. So a lot of people ask, why didn't he win any medals? Well, first he was trying to go for his team's championship, so he was helping out his team, and then once he turned pro, he just couldn't compete in the Olympics to win any medals himself. But that doesn't mean that his legacy is not great. He bested so many times and just was a high endurance runner that really everybody was talking about in the track and field or athletic area during this period of time. And even to this day, he holds records. He was awarded the key to the city of Punta Gorda in 1973, and Tommy Fulton Day was declared in Punta Gorda on July 6, 1973. He was inducted into the Florida Track and Field Hall of Fame in 1983. He is a recipient of the 2014 Lieutenant Charles P. Bailey Award for Lifetime Achievement by the Blanchard House Museum. And he did spend most of his adult life working for an oil company in Houston, but he had a very big passion for cooking, dancing, spending time with his family, running, of course. He shared the many gifts that he had been given by working and mentoring youth in the track and field area. So he became a mentor and helped those to train who were interested in track and field. And he was always running. There are so many stories of people that lived in Punta Gorda or knew Tommy Fulton, and they just always talk about how he was always running. He would sometimes refuse rides home and would just run home. There are stories of him running out into Northport from Punta Gorda, or running out into Inglewood or Inglewood Beach from Punta Gorda. So he's just really well known in this area, a very big icon in the sports industry, especially here locally. There's a quote from Tommy. It says, "I've had a good life. There's only one thing I didn't accomplish. I wanted to race the space shuttle. That's the only thing faster than me." Unfortunately, Tommy Fulton passed away on August 8th, 2013 at the age of 61 in Port Charlotte, Florida. He is buried at Lieutenant Carl A. Bailey Cemetery in Cleveland, Florida, in Punta Gorda. Thank you for sharing the story of Tommy Fulton's very full life on this History Spotlight episode, and we hope to see you next month for the History Spotlight that will be running throughout the Centennial every month during 2021. Thank you.